This is Mercedes, is compact luxury seven-seater, and I'm with the Vice President for Sales and Marketing, Santosh Iyer. Now, this car, the GLB, has been a long time coming, Santosh, and it's not, it's not here the way you want it. It's an import. So tell us something about that. Why did you go in for an import, and what's the sort of outlook?
See, firstly, there was a lot of discussions whether we should get this car to India because the CKD is not possible. This is made in Mexico, our plant there. But then when you look at the concept of seven-seater for India, this is quite apt. India, we have those, nuclear large families with parents, dogs, pets, and so we said a large spacious car, and also in the core luxury segment there is a vacant space because we have the GLS, which is extremely successful in the top end, but we have no car in between. So after a lot of deliberations, we said even if it is imports from Mexico, we go for it. Yes, then we had the next challenge of getting these cars, the shipping lines getting sorted to get into India, but now it's finally here, and finally we are here today to launch this car. So I think we are sure the bets will play and customers would love it.
Okay. Are you expecting a very large demand for it, or are you expecting a shallower demand and, more for the GLC finally, especially once you get the new one?
No, I think the GLC is the largest selling SUV for us, and therefore we have seen the segment for luxury customers is quite big in the 50 to 70, 80 lakh range. And what was lacking is this option because the customers otherwise had to upgrade to a GLE or maybe a GLS. We feel this should expand the segment. So we are quite bullish, I would say, on the volume. So this is not something that we expect to be niche. And therefore, we are offering all powertrains. We are offering the gasoline, the diesel, and also the EV option with the EQB also as such here. So that shows that we are confident about the product and the segment both.
Yeah, exactly. And Mercedes isn't launching one seven-seat SUV. It's launching two of them. This, of course, is the EQB, the electric variant, and they're launching both of them together. Now, tell us the logic behind this. Now, it's like, not just one bet you're putting out two bets.
See, when we talk to customers, there are some of them who says, EV, I will buy, the next car would be an EV, not now. For them, we have the GLB. Okay. And then there is significantly, the EQS launch, and when we launch the EQC also, we have seen that there is a set of customers who today want an electric. They want to, also it's a state of mind, it's a way to reflect that I am more responsible, I like to drive these cars. Of course, these cars are also better to drive from the acceleration and a bit more fun to drive. So for those customers, we have the EQB. So it's more of an option to be given to customers. So we think there will be equal takers, if not for both the EQB as well as for the GLB.
And of course, looking ahead into the next generation, I know that's a bit far, but logically you would want these cars to be assembled and made in India and Chakan, right? Because potentially, just like the GLC, a seven-seater of that around that size could be your biggest selling car.
Yeah. No, absolutely right. When we were evaluating between what to localize in India, we had an option of an EQS and option of an EQB. For us, it was important also from a statement of intent that we come from the top, our flagship model with the EQS. Of course, it's also the next generation in terms of, the hyper screen and many other features that the EQS has. So our call was to go for EQS localization. At this stage, this car is made in Kashkamet, and also the other car comes from Mexico. These plants don't have the CKD capacity, neither the wherewithal. So at the current, these generations, no plans. It will all continue to be in the CBU.
Have you already put in your request for the next gen?
I put in request for all my car lines, so everything to be produced in India. But we have to look at complexity. We have to look at also in the current supply chain challenges. Adding more complexity to production is not the best strategy. So we want to keep this as CBU imports for a long time to come.
Okay. Now, you'll have had a sort of great year already, and you're at a very high number. You have more cars for sale than anybody else. Your range is huge, and you have massive demand. So where do you see this year and next year taking you in terms of numbers?
I think if we are able to produce the cars, then this should be the best ever year. But we still have more than 40 days to go for that. So we are still working with our production colleagues. They are doing their best. The problem is not the capacity in Chakan. We are operating second shift already. In fact, in some of the lines even third. But the availability of parts, sometimes even one part missing, we cannot make the car ready for the market. What this has triggered is, of course, we get better allocations because they now see a future with the order bank in India. India, and I think we are quite confident that even 23 we should continue on this double-digit growth, roadmap as we move along. But it shows a lot of promise. We have never ever seen in our 28 years an order bank of 7,000 cars. It was never the case. So I think overall for us, the market is showing good promise, gives a lot of confidence to further invest. The success of the EQS actually boosted, because that was a bet we placed during COVID times to invest and get it. And now with this demand, I think we have a headquarter also feels more positive for the market, and they want to do more investments for the market.
Now, looking at your MFA family or front-wheel drive family from which these two cars come, you have the GLA, you have the CLA, you have the A sedan, as you call it, the A limousine. Are you going to flesh that front-wheel drive platform out more? Are you going to localize more of that? Do you see that growing exponentially in the future, next couple of years?
You'll be surprised. It's exactly the opposite. Pre-COVID, so we have three segments. We have the top-end luxury, then we have the core and the luxury segment. The pre-COVID, the luxury segment was much higher. It was around close to 30%.
Right.
Post-COVID, now it's only 12%. Our core growth comes from the top-end vehicles. The 1 crore plus segment is more than 30% of our sales. And from a global strategy and from an India strategy, our focus will be more on growing the top than looking into the bottom. Of course, we will like to grow across all segments, but from a product strategy, from a communication, from our customer experience, our focus is on the top-end vehicles and the core luxury segment.
Now, Mercedes has always been very strong with sedans. And looking at your sedan portfolio, you have the C today, you've introduced a new C, and you will next be updating and getting a new E-Class. Will that be similarly the long wheelbase version?
So we are committed with the E-Class, but the next generation E-Class, or I would say that will take at least 18 months to 24 months to come to India. So definitely it takes some time for these cars to come into the market. And I think the E-Class has been a big success. The largest selling car for us in our portfolio is a long wheelbase E-Class. So there are no immediate plans to change any strategy there.
Okay, so we can say the next gen will also follow this sort of strategy.
Right now, yes, that's what our outlook is.
All right. And looking at AMG, your performance brand, which you've done so well with, it started out with minuscule numbers, not very many people. Is the profile very different from your normal Mercedes buyer?
I think the AMG customers are existing users of Mercedes-Benz and they want performance cars. They use these cars for practical purposes. They drive themselves to start with. That's the fundamental difference. They are not as chauffeur-driven, or they are never chauffeur-driven, and they want to enjoy driving. And this tribe is growing. This tribe is growing. Also, there were earlier some customers also wanted AMG styling itself, but now they want an AMG engine also, not just the styling. So we are seeing a trend for performance cars, for more so from the self-driving perspective.
So, your investment in the 35 range for the GLA and the A sedan, would you be looking at extending that into something further, taking it to the next step?
No, for sure. I think for us now, we are in this process of ICE now getting in, and then the new EVs coming in. We have to still look at options when it comes to AMGs, what comes in the future, what powertrains, etc. But when it coming back to the 43 and the 35s, I think it's extremely successful for us to introduce these two powertrains in the A and the GLA both.
Looking at the overall picture, in the next couple of years, where do you see the greatest growth coming? Do you see this sustained push towards the top, this post-COVID push, or do you see it settling down and, your mid-range cars going better? What's your sort of prediction for the luxury market, especially Mercedes-Benz, the brand you know so well?
So for us in Mercedes-Benz, our focus is on the top end of this spectrum and on the core. So when we focus, we feel that's the segments to grow more significantly than the other segments. There is a lot of aspiration in India to buy luxury cars. So I would say the A-Class and the GLA for sure will also play its role. But having said that, we want to offer, the customer is upgrading directly to the E or to the C or to a GLC. And they are not going through the A, GLA kind of a traditional route. And I think the money is available, credit is available. The corporate India results are fantastic. So even there, we see a lot of people directly coming to the core luxury segment, then going to the traditional A, GLA, and then the upgrade.
So more options in that segment?
More options in the core luxury. That's what you see today. You have two products now added to the core luxury segment. So that's what our core focus would be for sure.
Okay, Santosh, one final question on the penetration and success of electric in the next couple of years. What's your take on that? Where do you see that number going? You've seen success with electrics also, but where do you see that percentage number going? Say 2 years from now, where do you see yourself, Mercedes-Benz India?
I would say around 4 to 5 years, we see 25% of our sales should be electric. That's the current roadmap. It's not because of the market maturity also, it's also the product availability. We need to have the right products to get to that 25%. And so we need to plug in a lot of more products. But availability, also these cars are hot selling cars worldwide. So, to get the cars also for the market and if localized or even CBUs, that's another bit of challenge. So these are topics that we are discussing internally. But I think 4 to 5 years, reaching 25% should not be an issue.
Fantastic. Congratulations on your great success with Mercedes over the years in India, constant growth and delivering a level of satisfaction to customers which you can see the result of.
Thank you very much. Thanks for
Thanks
joining
again.
us. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you.